I think we as blacks in this country do a better job of arguing about who does not deserve reparations than actually discussing why we deserve reparations and what we're going to do with it once we get it.
To a colonized country, or me voluntarily immigrating to America. Most immigrants, I don't care whether they're black or not, come here because they do better here than they do in other countries. So if you come here and you improve your life, and you have a choice to come here to improve your life from wherever you came from, that's why you came here. That's why people fight to get over here. It may not be great for us relative to white people, because that's a relativity conversation. Relative to white people, we do awful, but we're doing better than people in other countries, right? And so that's why you came here. So the people who come here, you already got your reparations by coming here. That is your gift. The gift is we created a movement in this country, the civil rights movement and all the movements before that, and all the slave riots and everything we've done before that, that paved the path for you to immigrate into a better country than you had. That is what you get. You don't get to then shoehorn into a justice claim that is anchored in slavery. That does not belong to you. And the other thing I would say is, if you are from the Caribbean, because that's who the vast majority of those people were when the Immigration Act of 1965 happened. The Africans didn't come over until later. You have the CARICOM. CARICOM is your justice claim. That is specifically for you. It's not for me. I can't have it. They didn't. And I have no problem with them saying this is just for us. CARICOM is just for us. It does not include ADOS. I have no issue with that. But that is where your justice claim lies. It doesn't lie here in America. And there are studies that show that like police do see a difference in us. That white folk do see a difference in black immigrants and native black American ADOS people who we tie all the way to slavery. So I think even this idea that like white people, when they see you, they don't see whatever, even internally, right? Like we can't even make the case that a police officer necessarily sees the same thing in me, a lighter skinned woman who is ADOS, that they see in you. So there are differences, and there are differences in employment, right? So because you don't necessarily have the baggage of a person who ties back to slavery. But the question becomes, it's just not your justice claim. You made a choice to come here and be a part of this country. You are doing better. Most people will tell you, I do better than the country that my people came from. That's why they came here. We paved the way for you to have that. That is your gift, and you're welcome.
I say I don't understand why black people are trying to block other black people, right? I say I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I think it's an extremely narrow view to act as if Black people from the Caribbean weren't enslaved. It means that they should take a comparative slavery class so they understand. It means that they don't understand what was lost by continental Africans when our foremothers and forefathers were taken from villages, right? And so I believe that we shouldn't be trying to say this is who should get reparations. We should say all Black people get reparations. And I am a Pan-Africanist, and I know that makes some of the people in certain groups angry.
Oh yeah, I have Yvette Carnell coming on, I believe on Friday night. We're going to have a conversation. And she would probably push back against your Pan-Africanism. That doesn't bother you too much.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. And I think that what kind of people are we when we trying to block other people from getting, who are our people, other people who are our people, from getting what they are also due?
I watched the clip of the lady stating that she thinks everybody should get it. And then I also watched the clip of Yvette Carnell, which I've watched her for years. Her and Tone Talks for years discussed the ADOS movement. And I agree with both. I can see both perspectives, both sides of why one feels like, look, slavery was all over the world and everybody's been affected by it. And if you live in the United States and you're Black, regardless of your background, you deserve reparations. Point made, good perspective. On a fundamental level, it doesn't sound like there's anything wrong with that. But then you have Yvette Carnell that states that only a certain amount of us came from slavery, and helped build this country up. And just because you're from Panama or Cuba and you look like me, or Africa, and you moved here, you immigrated here, that you deserve a piece of the pie. I understand that completely. My issue is this. You have the American descendants of slavery. Those people believe that their ancestors, their forefathers and foremothers and everybody in the past were slaves. Then you have the FBA, Foundational Black Americans, who don't believe that Black Americans came from slavery and that we are the indigenous people. We've been here all the time. And then you have the Pan-Africanists who want to see everybody that are of the diaspora, anybody that looks like me and you, we all deserve the same treatment and we should love each other. And if you're Pan-Africanist and you live in this country, you deserve reparations as well. The problem I have with that is that we will find every issue, every topic, and we will be divided. It seems like Black people, majority of us, cannot come together and agree on one thing. We haven't even got the money yet. We haven't even been promised reparations yet. But yet and still, we have found a way to separate and divide. And I honestly believe that is one of the reasons why we haven't got reparations. Not because the government is saying, oh, we're not gonna give you, no. I think the Most High sees that we down here, we can't even come together on one thing and unite for once about something. You know? You have all of these different groups and organizations. Meanwhile, you have people that look just like us, that call themselves FBA, ADOS, and Pan-Africanists, that sit in the government sector, in the Biden administration, in the old Trump administration, in the CBC, that are not rooting for our reparations. As a matter of fact, they're doing everything they can to down talk it and not give it a chance or even entertain the thought of reparations. So if those Black voices aren't pushing the agenda as well, it's not gonna happen. So if we've got people in politics that are already not rooting for reparations, we on the outside that are demanding reparations should be coming together instead of separate. That's just my opinion. You know, let's all agree that Black people in America deserve reparations. Let's come together. And then, as the lady said before, figure out how it should be divvied. You know, maybe a percentage will go to those that aren't foundational Blacks or people that haven't been here or that didn't directly come from slavery. You know, maybe give them a smaller percentage. That way they have a leg up too and they're able to help their offspring, you know? But to just flat out say, these people don't deserve it and these people don't deserve it, to me, feels kind of wrong. Now I know there's tension between Africans that come to this country and the Blacks that are already here. I feel like there's more and more tension as the years go, which is very interesting to me. I always grew up as a Pan-Africanist. My mom had African friends. We used to do African dancing. We learned African history, learned capoeira as a kid, you know, so Africa has always been part of my heritage growing up, you know. But as I got older and I saw how some Africans, not all but some, treat Blacks when they come over here, it's kind of disheartening because it's like, I thought we were all the same. I thought we all kind of loved each other, you know? But unfortunately, that's not the case. Anyways, I digress. Do I think Black people are owed reparations? Hell yeah. Absolutely. Emphatically, yes. We do. Because, as it's been stated, we helped to build this country. I don't care if you feel like we were already here. We helped build this country through indentured servitude, cheap labor, and still in 2024, still cheap labor. So we helped build this country. All of these big corporations, Fortune 500 companies, things like that you see, those things were built, those institutions were built off of free labor, and that money was passed down generation to generation. Their kids were able to have a huge leg up in society, which is why a lot of them are where they are today. Whether they want to admit that or not, that's on them, but we already know what it is. So the problem is that those people would not want to see the people that are at the bottom of the economic food chain. They don't want to see those people rise up to the same level as them. There's a video that Big Word the Genius did titled, "It's No Fun If Everybody Got Some." And that's how I feel about this whole reparations thing. I feel like the people that have it, that are up here, that are at the real middle class, not this fake middle class that don't really exist anymore, but the people that are really at the middle class, that are more so in the wealthy, they don't want the people at the bottom to get to that level with them. They don't want them rising to the top, because guess what? It ain't no fun if this person got it too. There's got to be somebody at the bottom so I can feel good about myself, right? When the people down here make it up here with everybody else, that's when you'll see a real war. Promise you. But guess what? That's not gonna happen. The people at the bottom, if they get that reparations, they'll be up here and then they'll quickly be back down here. You wanna know why? Because according to statistics, Black people in America like to wear and show their wealth. A majority of them will get that money and it will be pumped right back into the economy. So there's only gonna be a small handful of us that will take that money and work together with another small group of Black people that are like-minded, and we'll start to build things. But majority will go out and put that money back into this economy. So I don't understand why the thought of reparations is a huge issue anyway. I think at this point, it's just a power move. It's to remind you that I control this, and I will tell you when I want you to be up here. Does that justify why we haven't gotten reparations yet? Absolutely not. Because if the United States can spend billions and billions of dollars on other people instead of the people that live here in this country, that's bullshit. And it's absolutely wrong. And it's yet another slap in the Black face. But at the end of the day, God is the ultimate controller. And I think God is looking at us as a community, as a people, and watching our actions and seeing that we don't even agree on the simplest of things. So why would I bless you like that? Is it old to us? Yes, it is old. We should have been had reparations, just like the Japanese and the Jews and everybody else. But we haven't gotten it yet. Part of the reason is because we don't know how to unite. Another reason why I don't think it would be a good idea to separate everybody getting reparations that's Black in this country versus those that are African descendants of slavery is the fact that we're gonna have to prove that we are descendants of slavery, right? Y'all don't want that fight. Half of you are gonna be surprised that the African blood that is in you is gonna be so minute that you won't qualify for it. Let's just say if one of the clarifying factors or one of the factors that will determine whether you qualify, one of the qualifying factors is that you have to have a particular percentage of African blood in you, and you can't prove that, you're gonna be discounted anyway, you know? Say they pick a genealogy or ancestry database that everybody has to go to in order to prove their lineage, who's to say that the government won't give them stipulations and say, hey, all of the people that are sending in these blood tests, every other one, you can give them the true account for their lineage. All the rest, lower the numbers of their African. How do you know that? The only reason I'm saying that is because I know somebody whose best friend worked for 23andMe in North Carolina. And he told her that they change the numbers, the percentages of the African ancestry on certain people because they already know how they're going to respond when they see that they have a certain level of African blood in them. They call in, they talk mess, they say run it again because there ain't no way I got that much African blood in me. When Africa's called the motherland for a reason. Everybody's going to have at least 1% in their blood, whether you like it or not. But a lot of the people don't like to say anything more than that. So they literally go back in, change the numbers, lower it, send it back. So who's to say that all the people that got African blood in them, their numbers won't be lowered in order to appease the government so that they don't have to pay out more? So that's my other argument for why we should just all unite and be on the same page. We should all be on the same page. If you look like this, if you got damp brown skin, black skin, nappy hair, curly hair, dominant features, wide nose, big lips, you get to apply and you get reparations. I don't think it's that hard and I don't think that's unfair. Let's get the money first and then figure out and say, okay, hey, if you weren't born in this country but you came over, say between, say 1950 and earlier, you get reparations. If you came after that, you get reparations, but it'll be this amount. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get the money first and then figure out what to do with it, how to divvy it up, who gets what, things like that, you know? But we ain't even got the money yet. And we already arguing about who gets what. If that is not the most backwards shit I've ever seen. And this is why I say black people, we don't stand for shit. Because we can't even unite on something that we all are owed.